to God's creating humanity and the purpose behind the humanity. And we're going to do an exegesis, a careful exegesis of Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 to 28. So open your Bible and follow along with me. So we'll just read the text first of all to give a foundation. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image to be like us. They," notice the word they, there's a plural word. "They will reign over the fish and the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground." So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Note the word them. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them. Hear that word them coming through. "Be fruitful." So this is to both them. "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and all the animals that scurry along the ground." And then God said, "Look, I have given you the seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals and the birds in the sky and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life." And that is what happened. Then God looked over all he had made. He saw that it was very good. Again, all the way up until now it's been good, good, good. But when humanity showed up, you showed up, it became very good. Evening passed, morning came, making the sixth day. After that, we find that of Sabbath rest. So scholars have looked at this, and there's been many and different viewpoints upon this passage. Some have seen an order of authority here, the male being the dominant member who's connected to God, and the woman who's subservient to the male, that God made males first and then later that he made females. And some point to Paul's use in 1 Corinthians 11 according to how they read it, but they forget Paul's doing a hermeneutical application where he's showing that there is some kind of order in the universe. Some interpret 1:27 as God making the male and then later the female and subservient to the male. Have a look at these in your textbooks and other books around. A number of Old Testament scholars in recent times have revisited this passage and also looked at accompanying account in Genesis chapter 2 verses 15 to 25 about making humanity within that passage. And again, these scholars have exegeted and interpreted without any existing bias. Let's not go to the text with what we think about order of male and female. Let's just go to the text and open up the text to see what the text says, and giving particular emphasis to Hebrew, which is what it was originally read within. So again, it's been often pointed out that the actual Hebrew structure, that's their first commentary as much as giving us the basic information. When you read the text, and we don't have time to do a whole Hebrew lesson here, there's a clear pattern. And God created. Now, here's where we have a little bit of Hebrew, so try to keep up with me. Follow the bouncing ball. Keep it in mind what I'm saying. In the Hebrew, it says et ha-adam. So et ha-adam, et is a word that's used in Hebrew to say a definite article is coming here. It's going to be the is coming. And it's a definite the. So here it says, and the Adam, in his image. In the image of God, he created. Now, often in your translation, it puts there him. But the same word in Hebrew can be it. So him or an it. Same word in the Hebrew. Male and female, he created them. Twice it says that them. So again, have a look at this, keep it in mind. The concept is 3 times created here, created. And et ha-adam, the Hebrew has that direct definite article stating the human. Adam is a Hebrew word for human. It became a man's name, but it actually is human in Hebrew. In the Hebrew, again, the he, him, it is the same word. The context determines whether you use he, him, it. Note the them. He created them, the et ha-adam. So keep that in mind for where we're heading. There's a word play going on here in the text. The word for Adam, human, Adamah, ground, earth, dam, blood. So from the ground, the Adamah, he creates the Adam, and we have dam flowing through our veins, our blood, the life-giving force. And again, some recent scholars have examined this, and they've come with the proposal, the et ha-adam, that the Adam were earthling, without gender, perhaps even with both genders within there. It's interesting, after the creation of woman and women being fashioned there, the drops off the word Adam, and it's only Adam from there on in. So later, finding no equal to ha-adam, the human thing, the ground thing, the earthling, different ways of translating that, God separates into two separate people. After this separation, we find that Adam, ha-adam, drops off, and we only have Adam, as a man's name. But before that, it was always with ha-adam or et ha-adam. So the human, the human. Again, sounds a bit complex, but follow along with what we're saying here. Ha-adam, mankind, humankind, earthling, the earth thing. Again, different scholars are using different terminology. How do we translate that and bring out the concept of both genders being found in that one? And it continued until Genesis chapter 2, verse 23, when both genders are separated. Again, the notice of the word it or them can be also used within plural. Nouns in Genesis 1 are singular, but they're used collectively as plural. The pronoun him, it in Genesis 1:27 is singular to agree with the singular of Adam there, but it's plural in its meaning because it's referring to male and female and people and the them who were created in God's image. So understand that from a Hebrew point of view. Genesis 2:28, the woman is to match him. The concept is to be at his side. And again, the rabbis pointed out that the word play in the Hebrew there, God made a woman. It's actually, the Hebrew word is to build a woman. So she built, and the Hebrew understanding is that women have a greater intuition with men, because the word play between build and the Hebrew word for understanding, such a word play close between them. And so they're saying that women were made with in some ways, greater capacity than men for intuition and other areas. The rib story. The Hebrew Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, the benchmark lexicon, says side or side chamber. It can also be used in the planks for sides of a ship. And it's interesting that the word is often used in other parts of the Pentateuch. Not later scriptures, but that of the same time frame in which this has been written, for the side of something. For instance, Exodus often uses this about the poles being put in the side of the ark. Same word that's used here. And it's suggested that God is separated out a side to build a woman. So the side from that earthling, dividing out of that gender from the woman, Isha, from the Ha-Adam, the Ish. And Adam declares that this Isha, woman, was the same as his. And his bone and flesh means a large portion was taken, not a little rib, but a major part of who the Ha-Adam was to separated. And again, after that separated, that definite article drops off Adam to where it now only is Adam, not the Adam, but just Adam from there on in, referring to Adam. So again, this shows that there's no domination of the man over the woman. So some say that Adam naming the woman set an authority, but that's not found in the text. Hebrew, in Genesis 2:7, the breath of life went into the et ha-adam, the Adam, the earth thing, and then became a living soul. The Hebrew is the nephesh, that of that soul spirit together, and breathed into the both of them, not into the separate of them. Chapters 1:28, dominion. Well, another word of saying it is responsibility for creation is given to the et Adam, the Adam, that earthling, male and female together as one. Likewise, the priestly commission to be fruitful and multiply were given to that both as one. This is the theological significance of all this. Both were created in God's image and to be like us. In other words, both created as that the Adam, that the earthling, to be God's representatives, reflecting God out into their world. Genesis 2:18, God decided to separate et Adam, but significantly, although deciding to make that separation, let them remain together as one for the naming of the animals and in creation, showing that both together have equal authority within creation, and that concept of exercising their dominion, their responsibility together over creation, over the animals. Genesis 2:15, God placed them united as the earthling, that one, et ha-adam, into Eden, and there in Eden, then they were separated. So the whole concept, theological significance, is that these both male and female together were given equal dominion, authority, responsibility, and exercise that with naming the animals. Genesis 2, meant to be 21 to 25, then God separated man and woman. Then, after that was done. So, a great theological significance. This means that, ladies, you are not an afterthought. You're not there as an afterthought, as a plaything for men. That, gee, what are we going to do with keep Adam happy? Okay, let's make a woman. No, it's greater than that. Women have equal responsibility and equal commission for dominion to be fruitful and multiply. That's given to both within there. Women were also directly built. They were made, formed by God, and she is directly responsible to God in worship, not to another male, as often is taught at times. So again, because woman was uniquely built, shaped, formed, however you want to interpret that Hebrew word, by God, she answers to God directly, because being made and formed and fashioned by him. Women are not an add-on to a man. She is a unique individual, fashioned and formed and shaped by God and within God's original plan. By having both together and then separating means she was there in the middle. God blessed them and gave them the commission, not as in, gee, what do we do now to keep Adam happy? No, as an afterthought. No, it was there in the beginning, taken from the side of Adam and making into the two separate ones there. So again, there's no indication in the text of any inferiority of women or superiority of males. Do not find that in the text here in the creation account, which is the benchmark for everything else that follows. This means that both male and female have a continuating with them, and their ability to become one flesh and us is found again in Genesis 2:24. Because they came from one, the ability to go back into becoming one flesh as husband and wife becomes a created aspect within the order of Ha-Adam, the et Ha-Adam, the Adam, coming into separately male and female. Have a look at this in your textbook. Have a look at in other theological books that are out there written by modern Pentecostal scholars, evangelical scholars who focus on the text of Genesis and make that as being their priority for their research. And you'll be amazed what you see on this aspect and concept. We are there together to worship and serve our God. Amen.